TFL EV is brought to you by Flow Charger, maker of reliable, high-quality charging stations for your electric vehicle.
Hey everybody, Case and I have an interesting video for you today because we recently got a very interesting email from a viewer who said his Rivian R1T is getting the equivalent of 25 MPG, and in this video we're going to dive into what's going on. We've got some great sources we've contacted about the matter, and we're going to talk about a potential issue with the Rivian R1T.
Absolutely, and this is pretty dramatic because 25 MPG is worse than a Ford Ranger on the highway, so we need to figure out why this number is what it is.
So Case is going to read the email now from Jordan, and we contacted Jordan, we talked to him, and we've got kind of a good idea of what's going on with this truck. Why don't you dive into it?
Yeah, so he says, I'm sure you've seen people complaining about the vampire drain on the R1T. My situation is especially bad because I work from home and only average 5 miles a day driving the truck. After logging my mileage and crunching the real-world fuel economy numbers, I was pretty upset with the outcome. The R1T battery pack is 135 kilowatt hours, and that's the equivalent of about 4 gallons of gasoline. And he says to limit charge cycles, he charges his battery up to 85% and then runs it down to 25% before he recharges it. So that's 60% of the battery, which should give him about 81 kilowatt hours of battery, the equivalent of 2.4 gallons of gasoline. Now, after 10 days of driving, he's only gone around about 60 miles before hitting 25%. And he said he's done this test a number of times and always averages between 60 and 65 miles consistently before he hits 25%.
So Jordan sent us some screenshots of what his truck is showing in the trip display, and he took a screenshot, and from 85 to 25%, he drove 60.4 miles, which is what he says in the email, averaging 11 miles an hour. That's an efficiency of 1.81 miles per kilowatt hour, and the total energy used according to the truck is 36.3 kilowatt hours. 36.3. Now that's a pretty big difference. 36.3
versus 81, yeah.
Yeah, 81, right, which is a calculated amount of kilowatt hours that the truck is consuming. So where is that 44 and a bit kilowatt hours going?
Yeah, that is the big question, and we have some answers to this question because it's something that a lot of Rivian owners are seeing and reporting on. And actually, one of our YouTubers, a friend of ours, Alex Dykes from Alex on Autos, has done a good bit of reporting on this as well.
Yeah, he's dove into the problem pretty thoroughly. Alex is one of the most respected automotive journalists in the industry, and what we're talking about here is a potential of vampire drain, which is essentially the truck running in the background while you're parked, not driving it, and the battery depleting itself. Now, I actually asked Jordan, I said, look, there's a pretty big discrepancy between that 36.3 and that 81 kilowatt hours that you're claiming. Where is it going? Well, and he said that the truck only shows the energy used while driving along in the trip computer, right? So Alex has run his own test. This was back in August of 22 with his own personal R1T. He parked the truck next to an F-150 Lightning, both fully charged, for 13 days. And what did he find? How much did the Ford lose over those 13 days, and how much did the Rivian lose over those 13 days doing nothing?
Yeah, so this is pretty surprising. He got into the Rivian, and after 13 days, it had lost 27% of its battery, according to the truck's screen. So that's what it told him it had lost. And then he stepped into the F-150 Lightning, and the Lightning hadn't registered a change in its battery percentage, although he had lost about 4 miles of driving range. So the F-150 Lightning did lose some amount of battery, but nothing like what the Rivian lost.
Yeah, so according to the trucks, the Rivian lost 27%, the Ford lost, according to the computer, 0%. He also had an EV6 that he ran the same test with. It lost about 2% of the battery. So he noticed there was a new update, which was supposed to see about a 15% improvement of this so-called phantom drain, right? So he ran the update, and after the update, he still found a loss of about 2.33% per day. So he actually got a hold of someone at Rivian. He got in contact, and he decided to run another test because the employee at Rivian suggested engaging something called shipping mode, right?
Yeah, and this is supposed to shut off more of the features of the truck so that it won't use as much energy as it's sitting there. So Alex did a test, again over 3 days with his shipping mode. on, and he was losing 2.66%. So initially, his first test, he let the truck sit for 13 days. It lost about 2% average per day.
Yeah.
Then, after Rivian came out with an update that was supposed to give about a 15% improvement in this vampire drain, he let it sit for 3 days and lost on average 2.33% after that update. And then he tried shipping mode as they recommended and lost about 2.66%. So it actually seems like with the update and with engaging the shipping mode, somehow the drain got even worse.
Things are getting worse. Exactly right, which is interesting. Now, we did contact Jordan. Andre talked to him on the phone for about 20 minutes. He said he's experiencing about 4% battery loss a day doing nothing at all. And it's worth noting, too, temperature could have something to affect the situation, right? Both Alex and Jordan are in California. When Alex was running his tests, it was in the summer. It was like peak of 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So not really all that hot. There shouldn't be that much load on that battery, just having it sit there. So meanwhile, when Alex was running these tests, he was running other vehicles too and found almost no loss on a daily basis, which is interesting.
Negligible loss.
Yeah. Now, recently in January, I've been seeing a lot of folks on the forum also complaining about this vampire drain. And this is a pretty serious amount of battery, even if you are losing 2, 3, 4%, right? After 20 days, that could add up to 60, 70% gone just by having the truck parked. Andre also spoke to our YouTube friend Rivian Dad. He finds that right now in the winter, parked in a carport, he's losing about 2% of battery every single day. But these are not small numbers, right? Because we're talking 2% of roughly 135 kilowatt hour pack, which works out to be right around 2.7 kilowatt hours, which is a large amount of battery having your car parked and doing nothing.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, too, that for Alex's test and for Jordan's real-world experimentation with his own personal truck, they had the gear guard mode turned off. So it's not doing the Tesla-like Sentry mode. It's not spending energy on that. And Jordan even had his automatic lock and unlock switched off. So trying to conserve as much energy as possible.
Right. Now, of course, Rivian has said they have addressed this problem via software update. And that is a feature that they are able to roll out. I know there's another one that's rolling out right about now for a lot of consumers. And we reached out to Rivian for comment. We haven't heard back yet. But when we do hear back, we'll post the reply in the top comment of this video so we can get a better understanding of what Rivian is saying about this matter. But this is something which I think needs to be addressed, right? Now, Rivian works sort of similar to the Tesla model in that there's no on switch when you get in the truck, right?
Yeah.
You hop in the truck, you're ready to go, right? And Alex Dykes theorized that there's a lot more systems running in the background in these vehicles while they're just sitting compared to something like an F-150 Lightning or compared to something like an EV6. So that certainly could have an impact. But what really worries me is, say you park your truck at the airport, you go on a long trip, or you park in front of your house, no charger, go on a long trip, 3-4 weeks, right? At some point, that battery could get to a point where it gets so low, is it going to cause issues with the battery bricking itself? We don't have that answer based on the knowledge we have here, but that is something that I would be concerned about.
Yeah, it's not an unrealistic scenario. I mean, it can be very difficult to get your hands on a charger at the airport because they tend to fill up pretty quickly. So if you have a long drive to the airport and you have to leave your vehicle for a long time, it's not unlikely at all to think that you might be in a situation where you get back and you don't have enough power to get where you need to go.
Plus, it just sucks wasting energy, right?
Yeah.
Depending on where you charge, that could be very affordable. It could also be very expensive, so you're just wasting dollars having your truck do nothing. We've got a quick update for you since filming this video. So Jordan actually contacted Rivian service. The service tech said the remote diagnostics look fine and that, quote, 3 to 12% standby losses over a 24-hour period are considered normal depending on the weather. Take that as you may. Well, let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. This has been Tommy.
And Case.
We'll see you in another episode of TFL EV in the near future.